Hi, my name is Hunter Banks, and this is my fourth semester um, in the University of Arkansas Supply Chain Master in Supply Chain program, and I'm very excited for this class. I currently am working at Tyson Foods as a senior supervisor of transportation for our fresh meats bulk operation, um, and the reason why I think um, most improvement initiatives fail is because many organizations want to adopt the lean tools as a way of, you know, increasing their efficiency, lowering their overall cost, and bettering the quality of the product that they're putting out is, um, and most of those transformations stall out because there's a lot of redundant meetings and there's visual boards that aren't inspiring their employees, or the routine just becomes very, very old and lethargic, and nothing ever really materializes from it. um, and companies try to install the lean you know principles as a temporary project, or as a headline, to capture their employees attention. But at the end of the day, they're not systematically changing how their teams are conducting business and how their leaders are leading. And that leads to the overall diminished returns from their individual employees when they just don't really believe the leadership product that they're putting forward. So, um, you know, I think that, why most initiatives fail, more like specific reasons would be that, leadership pursues, certain activities that look good and they sound good, but they don't actually, you know, drive any change or positive change to the bottom line of their performance. So they mistake believing that all these things that look good and look like they're working hard or look like their teams are performing are actually not um, yielding any success. They're doing the right things, but they're not yielding anything. And then what happens is, the blame comes in when the metrics start to drop, and these traditional leaders start to criticize and blame their employees, which causes even more infighting. And employees quickly learn to, instead of exposing problems, um, they hide them away because those problems bring, their own personal risk of getting called out, and it being blamed on them, or it becomes their problem to fix, and they're not really given the tools to be able to fix those problems correctly. And then also, I think that leaders sometimes, instead of delegating out to their staff and developing the staff, they'd rather just fight every issue by themselves and try to be the person that is the hero that gets all the attention and the accolades, rather than actually developing their team. And that can also lead to burnout on leadership as well, and just their own doing. So that's really an issue because it doesn't get down to the root cause analysis when you're just quickly putting out these fires through your own validity. You're not finding out where those fires are coming from, finding out what's happening with those, and also developing employees to see those warning signs and help you to keep those from happening. So, you know, I think the main differences between continuous appearance and continuous improvement is that continuous appearance, their primary goals are looking successful, or they see their bad metrics as a flaw to them, and they start blaming everybody else. And they are more of a command and control from above and do as I say and delegate all the responsibilities without actually walking through them, and not connecting with their team. Their problem solving is very, reactive, and just put this out, put that out, and just get it done. And this leads to a very high turnover, a very fear-based culture that nobody wants to be a part of. And then when it comes to continuous improvement culture, I think that their primary goal is developing their team to learn from their failures and know how to attack them on their own, or foresee them and bring them to your attention so you can walk them through how, and be in the trenches with them and be on the floor with them, and develop them through those issues and those learning opportunities. And, you know, instead of looking as at negative metrics and you know, um, all these issues that they're facing as a blame game opportunity to throw somebody under the bus, they welcome those problems and they have curiosity of why those problems are happening, and they help their team manage their issues and find those telltale signs of those problems coming in. And then also, you know, just having a better culture of just figuring out something and fixing it through, like, you know, more of a scientific way of looking at it. So continuous experimentation, I'm sorry, of um, how can we fix this problem? Well, that doesn't work. Well, this doesn't work. Maybe this will work. And just having an open mind and hearing people out and allowing them to experiment their own hypothesis of why this issue came about. And, you know, trusting that you're going to get the most out of those people because you're giving them the most and you're giving them the most opportunity to develop and to create actual, you know, um, to create bravery in them and to create a sense of pride over their work and know that they can deal with these situations because they've been through them before, they've worked through them before, and they have the experience. And that frontline investment really helps with the psychological toll. When you make a mountain out of a molehill every time, it takes a toll, and people just don't want to deal with it anymore. So they would rather just pass on to somebody else than rather feel the wrath of somebody who is more, you know, um, is more driven by appearances rather than the actual development of their team. So, you know, I just feel like real cultural transformation, it cannot be forced through, you know, an executive sitting in his office away from his team, telling them what tools to use and how to do things, and what leaders need to, you know, break these big challenges down with their team into smaller targets and expose their team to operational obstacles at a lower rate and also help them through it, um, and experiment with them and overcome these obstacles to give them pride and to give them, you know, the experience that they need to help these issues. And, you know, lean is not just a toolkit that you can throw at a bad situation. It's a leadership system that's built off of respect for people and continuous learning and everyday alignment, between what the leader says and what the leader actually does and instills in his team. So, thank you.